Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to our event here, Stand with Ukraine, how the travel industry can support Ukraine. For those of you who haven't seen me around the Wanderful community yet, I am the curator of content and events here at Wanderful. My name is Justine Abigail Yu. I'm also the founder of Living Hyphen, a community that explores what it means to live in between cultures as people who have been displaced in some way, whether voluntarily so or forced, whether right here on this land or elsewhere. And because of this work, I am so excited and so honored and humbled to have this conversation, to be moderating this conversation today. For those of you who are joining in, who are not part of the Wanderful community, I just wanted to give a brief overview here and let you know that Wanderful is an international collective of travelers and travel creators, who are on a mission to make travel better for all women around the globe. And we connect our community both online and in person through a thriving online membership network, through local chapter events in 50 cities and counting. We throw together global summits and small group trips as well. And we're also the creators of the WITS Travel Creator Summit. And while we do a lot of work connecting women travelers together, a huge part of our focus in this work is also amplifying the voices of women and underrepresented people in the travel industry. And we're ultimately striving towards making this industry one that is more equitable, inclusive, and thoughtful. And this is such an important conversation that we're having today. If you're joining in, we really encourage you, share the YouTube link, share this live stream with your friends, with your networks, and also get social with us. We're available across all social media. You can find us at She's Wanderful. You can see that on our screen here, both on Facebook and on Instagram. And we really encourage you to engage with us throughout this discussion today. Again, I wanted to thank all of you who are joining from all around the world to have this really important conversation with us. It's now been 3 months since Russia invaded Ukraine. And for those of us who are outsiders, it feels hard to believe how quickly time has passed. But for those who are, there in that part of the world, who are directly impacted by this war, it must feel like an eternity. And many of us around the world and right here in the Wanderful community have been watching on as the war in Ukraine continues to displace and harm Ukrainian civilians every single day. I've seen conversations online taking place in our network at Wanderful and in person at our chapter events, at WITS, at Wanderfest. And we have all been asking this really critical question of what can we do to support Ukrainians during this incredibly turbulent and difficult time? And what does the travel and tourism industry have to do with all of this? And so I'm really excited to introduce you all and to bring on our exceptional panelists here. We have, first and foremost, we have Alina Kurska, who is a Ukrainian youth delegate to the United Nations, and she is currently working on as the project manager for the foundation of the former First Lady of Poland to support Ukrainian refugees. And I will bring Alina on here in our stream. Hello, Alina. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today. Hi.
You can follow Alina on social at alina.curse_. And I'll throw that on our screen here as well. Next up, we have the amazing Valeria Fediva, who is a member of the board of directors for I Am Not Alone, a charitable foundation that organizes humanitarian aid logistics from Europe and distributes it within Ukrainian cities. She is also the founder of Divergent Creative Agency, and you can follow Valeria. Here is her social at Valerik_Eduardovna on Instagram. Valeria, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
last but certainly not least, we have Jerry Heil, who is a Ukrainian singer, songwriter, and YouTuber. And you can follow Jerry online here. There's her handle. And Jerry, I'm going to bring you on screen. There you
Here I
are.
am. Hi guys, thank you
There.
for having me today. Nice to see you too, and nice to discuss what can we do from the cultural position, because there is such a thing as music traveling, I guess, and I'd like to talk about it today too.
Thank you so much. Yes, super curious and super interested to hear more about that. Thank you. Thank you all again for being here. We'll move into our Q&A here. And I just wanted to mention for all who are listening in, we will allocate some time towards the end of our discussion for a Q&A. So if you do have any questions, please share in the comments section. You know, I have some questions, many questions that I want to ask our panelists, but of course, we want to make sure that you're engaged in this conversation as well. And so please share your questions in our chat. But to kick us off, I really just wanted to ask each of you, how are you all doing and where are you joining us from? Feel free to unmute. You know, I just really want this to be more of a conversation than anything else. How are each of you and where are you?
So I'm in Lviv right now, and I'm happy to be here, really. In Lviv now, it's a more calm situation, and I'm actually in my charitable foundation office. I'm not alone. So Lviv,
Lviv.
Ukraine.
Yes. Alina?
Yes, I'm joining you today from Warsaw, Poland. For the first 10 days of war, I was in Kiev. But since my home is located like close to the airport, I had to leave, and now I'm in Warsaw.
Okay, thank you. And Jerry, where are you? You're on the
So
go.
I'm currently in Berlin. I came here to write some music, and after that, I'm going to Prague for 3 days to make some social activities with the Ukrainians, like to support refugees. And then I'm back to Berlin again because we are making a lot of music nowadays. Collaborations with European musicians, new collaborations with Ukrainian musicians, and Ukrainian music. I guess in general is like up to like new level now. So we're working on it.
Thank you. And I know I gave a brief intro to each of you. And well, I wanted to ask you to elaborate a little bit more, I guess. I wanted to ask you all about your professional journeys and what you do for a living. I know you're all now active, you know, quite active politically, but was that always the case? Or, you know, tell us a bit about your professional journey and what you do.
I used to live in Poland, actually, because I finished my PhD studies in Poznan State University. So I had my PhD thesis about corporate social responsibility and comparative analysis between Ukraine and Poland. And I used to be a university teacher as well in some subjects like digital diplomacy, like corporate social responsibility and negotiations in business. I'm also a mediator in international conflicts. But when COVID started, I had opportunity to back to Kiev and had opportunity to be a teacher like online, and I started. My creative agency Divergent, and we from the beginning it's a creative production with a strong social base. All projects which we have, it's had their strong social context. We collaborated with different celebrities, government, NGOs, and now we also, during the war, work as much as possible. So, and when the war started till 5th of March, I was in Kiev. I was in shelter as everyone, and then I moved when I had opportunity to move from Kiev. I moved to Lviv, and I started to help to the charitable foundation. I'm Not Alone, so it's a huge humanitarian hub. And now I'm here and help Ukrainians as much as possible, make some specific mission to the most dangerous places in Ukraine. It's a product mission, it's a humanitarian hub mission, and a relocated business mission, and so on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, actually, thank you for sharing about your foundation. I wanted to share that for those who are listening, who are part of the Wanderful membership community, if you don't already know, a portion of your membership every month goes to a nonprofit beneficiary. And this month, the proceeds will be going to Valeria's foundation, I Am Not Alone. And so we'll share more information about that later, but just wanted to share that here. So thank you for sharing a little bit more about your professional journey, Valeria. Alina, how about you?
Thanks, Justine. Yes, I have master's degree in international relations, so I have been into some kind of international relations realm since then. I have been working for a company organizing different events during World Economic Forum, Munich Security Conference, and within Ukraine. Then I have worked for the Innovation Park in Ukraine, and since the beginning of war, I'm leading the project of humanitarian response at the foundation of the former First Lady of Poland, Jolanta Kwasniewska. This is the relocation project. This is the joint project with American nonprofit company Global Empowerment Mission, and the project aimed to relocate those Ukrainians who were based in the places of their temporary stay in Poland to different cities in the European Union, and connecting those people to the families so that they can find safe homes. And for now, we have relocated almost 30,000 people to like around the world. So
Wow.
thanks to the efforts of Global Empowerment Mission and Jolanta Kwasniewska Foundation. And yes, for a year, I have been a youth delegate to the United Nations. So last year, I was selected by Bogdan Havrilishin Foundation and Ministry of Foreign Affairs to represent Ukraine as the youth delegate at the General Assembly, United Nations.
Wow, thank you. That's incredible to hear. Thank you so much, Alina.
Thanks.
Jerry?
Yeah, so I'm a Ukrainian singer, and I've been doing the music all my life as I remember myself, and even when I don't remember because I was so young. But the war, of course, changed my life a lot. And now I'm trying to raise and put up Ukrainian music to the international level. We're working with major labels now in Europe to have this Ukrainian impact on European music, because I think Ukrainian music deserves to be heard here and in the world. And as I told you before, I'm working on this sphere as musical traveling, musical tourism, because we had a lot of festivals in Ukraine, huge festivals, where thousands and thousands of people were coming. And now it's kind of lost, because one of the city where we have one of the best and one of the biggest festival were Mariupol. And now it's just impossible to do that. And I think we have to figure out how we can help this situation.
Yeah, thank you. It's incredible to hear how you have all used your strengths, used your experience and your backgrounds really to support, the movement right now here in Ukraine. And Alina, we were speaking earlier about an experience that you had recently, just I think it was last week in Davos. Did you want to share a little bit more about that?
Of course, last week I was, during the World Economic Forum, I was a part of the team which was preparing a series of events in Davos, and one of them was Russian War Crimes House. So in the location of the former Russian house, we transformed it into the Russian War Crimes House in order to showcase all the crimes committed by Russian Federation since the outbreak of war. So basically, it was an exhibition of photos taken by different Ukrainian photographers all over Ukraine since the beginning of war and until the beginning of May. And partially it was like discussions on the war crimes, on Russian war crimes with high-level speakers who have spoken about how can Russia be held accountable. So this was like really a great project, an important project for Ukraine, because now Ukraine should be at the top of the international agenda always.
Thank you. Yes, and we'll actually share a link after this presentation. We have an email going out to everyone. Alina had sent me a YouTube video of what was happening in the Russia War Crimes House, and it's really fascinating. So we'll share that afterwards as well. And at the beginning of our conversation here, of course, I introduced Wanderful, and I mentioned that Wanderful is an international collective of travelers and travel creators. And, many of the women who come through our community are socially conscious global citizens who really want to support the places that they are traveling to and the people that they meet on those journeys. And then, of course, we have our travel creators. These are bloggers, videographers, influencers, media and culture makers, really, who have massive platforms, which they often use to speak out on important issues. And as I mentioned, this topic, we have been watching the events unfold in Ukraine, and it's a conversation we've all been having in person and online. And I wanted to ask each of you, what are some concrete action items for us to do right now, both as creators and as everyday travelers, as everyday citizens, to support Ukrainians from afar?
Maybe I start. I have a privilege now with my agency. We make all production, all reportage for UNFPA, and we also make a lot of charity projects for people from the art sector, and with a foundation, I'm Not Alone. We conduct negotiations with the donors organization to help them to provide the most needed aid to Ukrainians. And we just help make our mission, create new mission. And I really thank to all the international community which help us to make this mission, even product mission, as I mentioned before, relocative business mission, and so on. So this is all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alina or Jerry?
Yes, of course. Like today, I want to say that everyone can help with the war in Ukraine. Everyone can have a stake, and I know that tourist industry, like many tourist actors, already have been doing many fundraising efforts, doing some donations. Like I know that United Airlines, for example, they have great fundraising efforts in terms of donating to Ukrainian aid workers and with some medical staff. So this is really great, and I'm thankful to all the actors who are doing this help. So what else can be done? I think that the model which has been proposed by Ukraine for the reconstruction for the post-war reconstruction is really great, which is that any organization or any country can take the lead in reconstructing particular industry or in reconstructing particular region or a particular city. So, for example, different tourist actors can also unite and declare their availability and their willingness to participate in those rebuilding efforts, because the war will end and Ukraine will definitely win. And afterwards, we'll have to do that rebuilding and do that reconstruction. So I think it would be also very important for all the international community to unite in those efforts and to take some lead and patronage in this.
Thank you. Definitely the rebuilding effort will be a big project, will be a big undertaking. So thank you for bringing that up. Jerry, did you want to share?
Yeah, I've got some like not it's like a popular idea, but I don't know, it's like it's used not that much for today, and I think we have space to use that more. I'm talking about influencers. Being an influencer myself, I know that having such a wide auditory can help to like spread the news you want to spread. And it works with everything, even if it's hard, even if you are like, I don't know, beauty blogger, even if you're like someone who's not like related to political stuff. So the thing I wanted to say is that it's necessary to every sphere. For example, if we're talking about musical traveling, or if we're talking about some volunteering, you have to pick some group of people, influencers, who can help you spreading this, and making them ambassadors and giving them tasks. And I think such thing as like lifestyle influencement is kind of ending nowadays, because there are like things that are more important. And yeah, that is what I wanted to say. We have to like connect influencers to talk to like ordinary people through them.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry, and thanks for bringing in the conversation, or the idea of influencers, because as I mentioned, a huge part of the Wanderful community are made up of these creators who have really, really influential platforms, whether that's on YouTube or Instagram, or, you know, all the other different social media platforms that are available. And so encouraging those who are tuning in, who will watch this recording later, to definitely share, share this video, and share, you know, these concrete action items that we've heard from our amazing panelists. And, you know, as somebody who is far away, as somebody who is an outsider from what's happening on the ground there, a lot of the information and a lot of the information that I have received, of course, there's mainstream media, there's the news, but the really personal and the human side of it, I've been watching a lot of it through TikTok, through Instagram, through these videos from, you know, local Ukrainians who are getting their message out into the world. And so, again, just wanted to, I guess, echo that, or just hone in on that message, just because, again, a lot of the folks who are in our community are creators. And so thank you for that. And each of you brought such different action items, which I think is so important, because I also know that everyone has different strengths, everyone has different spheres of influence. And so we all have a place, as Alina was mentioning, you know, we all have a place in the rebuilding, in the supporting of this movement. And I just wanted, I guess, to touch on the fact that, of course, the travel and tourism industry is suffering right now in Ukraine, and it will likely be struggling for quite quite some time in the future. We don't know how long this will go on for. And at Wanderful, we know how crucial this industry is across the world, not just as a vacation, not just as, something leisurely to do, but as a livelihood. The travel and tourism industry. I was reading a report from Tourism Economics last week, and the tourism industry in Ukraine represents about 7% of the total GDP. That was in 2019. So 7% of the GDP. And total employment as a result of tourism measured up to, I think it was 1.2 million jobs. Again, that's in 2019, so some time has passed and that might have been in flux now. But I wanted to ask you all, are you able, and if you don't know the answer, that's totally fine, but I wanted to ask, are you able to give us a sense of what we might be seeing or what we expect to see in Ukraine's travel industry, in the near future and in the long future, far future?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the Eurovision that is up to be in Ukraine next year. And I think, talking about what I've been talking about previously, about influencers, we have to somehow make the thing so influencer would talk more about how it is important to go to Ukraine and support Ukraine, and to talk about that Ukraine created a safe space. I think it will create a safe space where people can have their time, live their life, and spend some quality time at this festival. And so we have to talk through these influencers in Europe who are fans of Eurovision. They have their own channels on YouTube. They have their own special Eurovision platforms on Instagram, and this is the first step, I think, to bring the tourism to Ukraine again, because it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
If I can add regarding the tourist industry. So of course, right now it's very hard to predict what will happen, because right now we're in a state of war in tourist industry, and tourist infrastructure is devastated, is destroyed. Yes. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to rebuild it. And tourist industry in Ukraine will flourish better than before, because Ukraine has such a great potential in terms of tourist destinations. Ukraine has really unique old architecture, so many unique places, and I'm pretty sure that the creative people in Ukraine will be able to rethink over some concepts and attract foreign tourists in the post-war period. But we also can look at the examples of our of the other countries. So for example, Croatia. The wars in Yugoslavia has destroyed the tourist infrastructure in all the lands. But after that, the countries were able to rebuild that. And now, for example, Croatia is one of the most prominent tourist destinations, like leisure and vacational destinations, because it has launched such a massive PR campaign. And so that right now, if I'm not mistaken, almost 20% of its GDP goes to tourist industry in Croatia. So Ukraine has really great and huge potential, and I'm pretty sure that we're gonna rebuild it. We just need some time and resources for that.
So just in conclusion, I summarize that Ukraine used to have tens of millions of international travelers every year from different countries, from Italy, from USA, from Poland, from all of the world. And despite this, we have a well-developed internal tourism, large groups of expats. As Ukraine has a lot of offer, despite beautiful nature. We have mountains, forests, seas. We also have a vibrant combination of dynamic modernity and Asian history in our culture, architecture, and absolutely delicious cuisine. See Ukraine on TV or read the news. It's now it's about only about war or politics, but I know that the war finishes, and we would be glad to see you here, and see you here, and we would be also glad you will use maybe soft but strong power to promote truly delicious Ukrainian destination, and make them known to the general public. So
Thank you. Yes.
We would like to welcome.
I'm sure, and I'm sure there are many in our community who would love to go, many who have already been, I'm sure. Alina, you mentioned earlier about an example of, was it the which airline?
United Airlines.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask all of you, if you know, have you seen other actors within the tourism industry who have come together to support your cause in Ukraine? What have you seen so far? So you have that example. One, I'm answering my question here, but I'll just give an example that we have seen, or that I have seen. There was a lot of news around it when the war first broke out. Airbnb, or I don't know if it was an official Airbnb tactic or whatever you want to call it, but a lot of foreigners, people around the world, were booking on Airbnb, were booking homes from Ukrainians in Ukraine, and as a way to kind of filter in money directly into the hands of Ukrainians. And I've seen that as an example. I know that there were also some issues around that. But I'm wondering, have you seen anything else within the travel and tourism industry? And have those efforts been effective in your opinion?
I think you have mentioned the most prominent example for all of us, which was Airbnb. What I can also recollect for now was that many travel companies, like logistic companies, train or local train and car rental services also gave some discounts for Ukrainians. For example, I know that about Poland and about Germany, that for example Deutsche Bahn offered the rides for Ukrainians for free, also Polish Intercity. So these were some logistical and transport companies which offered some help. But I also know that in different airlines, people who are the members of the airline groups, they could donate their miles to Ukraine. So they can do that either financially, or they can just donate in terms of miles, and then it's some kind of transformed into the donations to Ukraine. And this is really great that such kinds of models are created.
Thank you.
This kind of initiative can help us a lot. And thank you for support in all sectors. Right now, for example, in Severodonetsk, where the hottest fighting is going, 800 people is hiding in the shelters, and they have no opportunity to left this shelter, because they just afraid that they would not have any opportunity to live somewhere. But we know that millions of Ukrainians had that fear, but took a chance to survive. And imagine how grateful all of us and to see all their hospitality and warm welcoming of them abroad in such places, and such places like Airbnb. So we're really thankful for these kinds of initiatives.
Yeah, I want to share. I'll drop it in our chat here. I hope everyone in our on the live streams can see. It was just another example of what a company like Airbnb has done. I was reading about how Ukrainians have also been using Airbnb as a way to find temporary housing. So there's a link there just as an example of another way we might be able to support this effort. And Jerry, I wanted to ask you, I know you are you're in the music scene, and while that's not specifically travel related, it definitely is. People are always traveling to go to music festivals, to go to different concerts. And so I wanted to ask you if there's anything that you have seen in the music industry in Europe to support the cause there in Ukraine.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Some music shops, for example, where they sell musical instruments. I have such case myself. When you go to the music shop, you can ask somebody from like the owners if they can make a discount, because a lot of people understand that musicians are left without their instruments. Like all their like professional stuff is in Ukraine. So this owners of such markets and shops, they give huge discounts to Ukrainian musicians. So you can Google whatever company it has, or just come there and ask them. And it helps a lot, because me myself, I just left Ukraine with laptop and musical card, and that's it, sound card. And now I was in a music shop where they sell like native small wooden musical instruments, and I have to like make my set from the beginning again, because everything is in Ukraine and I can't be back.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, again, we're not just talking about these leisure activities. There are people's livelihoods that have been compromised and significantly harmed and impacted. And so that's great to know, Jerry. So thank you all for sharing a little bit more about that. And I wanted to ask, we've seen how there has been huge waves of refugees traveling to, forced to travel to different parts of Europe, especially. And do you have any thoughts on how, again, our community might be able to support refugees outside of Ukraine? How can we support the neighboring countries who are being asked to support Ukraine at this time?
Okay, maybe I start. The only thing we need is a tsunami wave of promotion, and this is one of the key link that will help us stay afloat. So we have war now, but it will end rather sooner than later. We fight here for. We are shielded here, yes, and it will be end with our victory, and then we expect an investments and booming economy, including travel industry as well. So now you also can create or join to the charitable concerts to promote our art, join to discover Ukraine and Ukrainian in Ukrainian centers abroad, support our startups, collaborate with our businesses, involve into our initiatives with our companies, include Ukrainian leaders in your events. So thank you for having us here today. Develop together with our people and sharing our values, and come to visit us as soon as it would be possible.
Thank you. Again, great action items there. And we'll outline that in our post emails as well. And again, hopefully people who are tuning in are taking notes on this. Alina, I know you are working from Poland and, with an organization that is helping refugees.
Yeah.
So did you have anything you wanted to share on this?
Yeah, so like when we are speaking about refugees who are coming to another land, they encounter a number of problems, like the problem with housing, the language barrier. So they don't know the surroundings. They're like completely lost because they are also in a stance of fear, of shock. So any help is very much needed. And I mean, it's really great that a lot of people in the European Union have shown their willingness, for example, to share their homes with Ukrainian refugees, so that can somehow mitigate the problem of housing for them. And like any person in terms who is willing to participate, they can subscribe to different platforms offering safe shelter to the Ukrainian people. And of course, in terms of like, you know, the neighboring countries are having the most burden right now in terms of Ukrainian refugees, and Poland is one of those countries, because most Ukrainian refugees have crossed the border with Poland. That is why, like, if anyone is willing to help, like with donations or with some fundraising efforts, my advice would be to connect to some local organizations at the on spot. So, for example, whether it be Poland or Hungary or any other country, but find some local organization who are delivering real help and effective support to Ukraine, either to Ukrainian refugees or by delivering some humanitarian aid to Ukraine, because these organizations already have experience and they know how to help Ukrainian people. So in this case, the help would be more effective, and in this case, the help will find those target groups it was meant to be delivered to from the very beginning.
Absolutely. So again, yes, totally. Supporting local organizations, local businesses, always important, especially right now. So thank you for sharing that. I wanted to just send a reminder to everyone who's listening in. We have about 15 minutes left in our conversation. So I did want to make sure if you had any questions, to make sure that we address them. And I'm seeing a couple here now. And so let me just take a quick look here. I'm seeing one from Jordan. And they asked, are there specific refugee programs in neighboring countries that we can involve ourselves in? Do you have suggestions from, you know, the top of your head of organizations that are out there that we might be able to support by, you know, by donating to? Of course, Valeria will share your organization. Are there any others, maybe in Poland, Alina, that you would like to promote or share with us?
Of course, so these are companies on the project, to the project of whom I contribute. These are Jolanta Kwasniewska Foundation, the foundation which is leading the project of relocation, together with Global Empowerment Mission. The Global Empowerment Mission is an American company, but they have been delivering help to Ukraine and to Ukrainian refugees since the first day of war. So these companies are really effective in terms of delivering help, because you can see the statistics. You can visit their website and see like how many people have been relocated, how many trucks have been delivered to Ukraine. So these are like companies who give real support.
Thank you. Jerry or Valeria, are there any others that you might want to shout out here?
Ukraine Now, just you can find it in Instagram and Facebook. Just write Ukraine Now and you will get all the information about Ukraine. And come to Ukraine, and the state agency for tourism development will help organize your stay here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right, but I think there's nothing about music there. And to be honest, being here every day, I see less and less like support for Ukrainians, even from the people that are like we're hanging Ukrainian flags on the windows. Now I don't see it, and yeah, it's kind of like a small thing, but it's important just for refugees here. And what I wanted to say, here in Berlin, they have a small like creative community. It's called Panda, and they help Ukrainian artists. So it's musicians, actors, like all kind of artists. that we can imagine. So you can come there. You can Google Panda Berlin. You can come there and ask if you want to help and donate, for example, because they are taking donations, or you can help refugees with the work. Maybe you're the owner of some company, um, or you're searching for a musician to your band. That works too. So yeah, I just know about this company in Berlin, and I'm sure they have such companies in other like big cities. Definitely.
Thank you. Lots of different options here. I wanted to provide those. So thank you all for sharing that, because I know, everyone maybe has different interests. Jerry, especially having like a music option, if that's something that you want to support. Again, we all have different interests, different spheres of influence that we can really make an impact in. So having these different programs to know about is incredibly helpful. I wanted to ask another question here. Wait, let me see. Another one here. It's for you, Valeria. Can you tell us more about the charitable product program and the chef your organization has been working with? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
You mean our missions? Do you?
The
Ukraine.
chef. Maybe it's about Evgeny.
The chefs. Oh, sorry, I I just I just focus on some travel things and forget about the background at all. Yeah, we had opportunity to be on a cultural diplomacy mission. It's promotion our cuisine abroad and donating to support our army. And it was a big travel. Gastro travel tour in Luxembourg, for example. We had 400 liters, it seems to me, of our national dish, borscht, Ukrainian dish, and all money that Yevgen gathered he sent to support our army. Then we moved to Luxembourg, and there he hosted 200 people, also all money gathered or donated to the army. And then it was a big forum for chefs in the city Metz, and a lot of chefs from Europe, for example, chef of Prince of Monaco, chef of President of Estonia, chef of President of Macron, had opportunity to see how Yevgen cooked our national borscht. And now everyone has opportunity to see the recipe of our borscht and have it on the every kitchen, each kitchen in all over the world.
Amazing. Oh, I'm so glad we asked that question to learn more about that program. Thank you.
So next time, I think you can invite Yevhen here, and he will cook with your bloggers together, and everyone can share their opinion about our national cuisine.
Yes, we want the recipe. Thank you. What did I want to say? Well, I've asked a lot of questions, and I wanted to know from each of you, I'm sure you have been doing a lot of events like this, speaking to this issue nonstop, I'm sure, for the last few months. Are there any questions that I missed that you wish, or that you haven't really heard anyone ask you, that you want people to know about Ukraine or about the what is happening on the ground there? What isn't being asked that you want our audience to know about?
Girls, maybe you start.
I guess everything was sad, and again, I just I know it can seem like unserious maybe, but we have to push this theme with influencers because they have such a wide auditory, and a lot of them are not talking about what's going on at all. Uh, because being here in Europe, I just see that people are just living their life, and it's kind of normal. But it's not normal that people are getting used to the war, and we are trying here to do everything to to get through this. Um, just to get in their lives and say hello, to say hello with our music while they're eating their breakfast, to say hello while they're driving car to their work. So one more thing I think it's necessary to say. I'm not like an IT someone, but Ukrainian technologies are highly on top right now, and maybe it has to be a point to travel to Ukraine after war. And two, for example, talking about music, uh, I don't know, but I think nowadays is the more the biggest amount of musical NFT is created by Ukrainian artists, because it's like the way to help, the way to collect money, the way to take donations with art, because you know that music is very unpriced nowadays. And we created with I Am Not Alone this NFT collection, and I'm a part of this collection. I created a song, Putin Go Home. So it's like a travel song too, it's related. Um, so yeah, you can go to our Valeria, help me. Where is it? On OpenSea, yeah?
OpenSea.
And you can donate, you can take part in this auction, and you can be the owner of this track, and that means you can use it wherever you want, from just keeping it and putting it on morning alarm, to use it in your film if you're I don't know, film producer, for example. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Again, yes, supporting locals, supporting individual, local Ukrainians there. So thank you for sharing that. Any last words or takeaways? I know we only have 5 minutes left, but I wanted to make sure you all had a chance here to speak.
Today actually is the 99th day of the war in Ukraine, and I would like everyone to know that Ukraine has been fighting not only for ourselves, but also for our neighbors and for the whole Europe and for the whole world. We don't want to allow the situation like in Bucha or Mariupol on the west. So Ukraine is a shield, as I mentioned before. That's why your support is more important than you even can imagine.
Thank you.
I just want you to know about this.
Thank you for sharing that. Really well said. Alina?
Yes, I would like to support what Valeria said. And to conclude, I want to say that Ukraine is a wonderful country with wonderful people. And today, Ukraine is really defending justice, defending freedom, and defending the whole democratic world. the courage and bravery of Ukrainian people that we see today cannot but inspire. And today we see the unity of Ukrainians like never before. We will win and we will stop this war, but for this we really need international support. So we don't need the situation, yes, to go further, and we really need this to be stopped right now. So this is my urge for everyone to get involved and to help with all means they can to support Ukraine and to help stop the war.
Thank you for ending on such a hopeful note, and I appreciate you all so much for spending time here with us. Jakui Tobi, I don't know if I said that very well, but thank you. And again, this conversation will be available on YouTube afterwards. We'll be sharing links to all of the resources that we shared earlier. And I just wanted to throw up one slide here before we all go. Hopefully this works. Okay, good. I wanted to just reiterate that a portion of your membership, your Wanderful membership, goes to a different travel organization each month. And this month it is going to I Am Not Alone, the charitable foundation that we have been speaking about with Valeria today. You can find them at alternativeway.help or on Instagram there is the handle there. I'm also going to share it in our ticker at the bottom there. And again, here is the link, alternativeway.help. If you want to donate, if you want to get involved further, this is where to do that. And again, just thank you all so much. Thank you to our brand partners who have helped make this event happen, to all of you who are with us today, and to our incredible panelists, Alina, Valeria, Jerry, thank you so much for taking time out of your very, very busy schedules to be with all of us and to share such incredible insights and resources for us to get involved. So again, thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, girls.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.